What's going on, everybody? Today in the film room, we'll be checking out new Steelers cornerback Asante Samuel Jr., somebody that I really liked coming out of Florida State several years back. We're going to talk through his strengths, weaknesses, all that stuff. But if you guys could do me a favor, like the video, make sure you subscribe, drop me a comment. It's just easy ways to support the channel, support my work. Without further ado, here we go. So the number one thing that I think you really need to know with Samuel making his way to Pittsburgh is that this dude is a very opportunistic cornerback. So if you like playmakers at the cornerback position, you're going to really like having Samuel in the defensive backfield in the black and gold. So right here is a good example of that. The Colts are going to be running a mesh concept. Samuel's going to be playing as a cloud corner at the top of the screen. I'm going to work to get a reroute, force the number one receiver inside so we help out our safety. And then from there, it's just getting our eyes back to the quarterback. You can see he's reading the quarterback's eyes. As soon as he goes to load up, he ends up jumping this route for a really nice interception. And that's really, the name of his game. He likes to, the Chargers have been a heavy zone system since he's been there over the past 4 years, before he got hurt last year. Making a lot of plays on the football. And one thing that I like about Samuel too is that a lot of his best plays seem to come against the best competition as well. So right here, the Chargers are going to be playing cover 3. I really like that Samuel's playing from a back pedal right here instead of playing from like a bail technique. I think the reason why is it gives you a better chance to break on these out-breaking routes. And right here, Samuel does a really nice job just staying really controlled in his pedal. You'll see he's playing from a low center of gravity. Nice route anticipation, and then breaking on the football. You see that he's hooking that outside hip and then breaking on the football underneath to get a nice pass breakup on first down. Again, that's a really, really good receiver. And there are a couple matchups with him and Davante Adams over the course of the years that I really like. This is another one of those kind of what you're seeing a lot of in the NFL right now. Getting these really good receivers, condensed split closer to the quarterback and giving them two-way goes. And, Samuel does a really nice job here, I think, not falling for the route craftsmanship or salesmanship from Adams. Adams is going to be working what's called a stair-step technique. So as he gets to the second level, he's going to try to sell this like he's working vertical. Samuel does a really nice job like shuffling and understanding that he's not going to be going vertical. I'm not threatened, and then making another really nice play at the catch point right at the first down sticks. Samuel, for the most part, will do a pretty good job, especially like when he's up against like number one targets of staying on top of receivers. So right here, he's playing outside leverage, kind of a similar split to the one we just saw. Really nice job here. This is we're playing with a quarter safety. So anytime we get quarters from the number one, we're probably going to get an alert that the ball is going to be coming our direction. Does a really nice job, maintaining that outside leverage and then competing at the catch point. Samuel's not the biggest guy. He's only about 5'10", 180 pounds, but the dude finds the ball consistently and he makes plays on the ball. So you rarely see him like just get dunked on. Down the field, even though he is giving up a lot of size. And I kind of mentioned some of the playmaking and just opportunistic, parts of his game. This is another one of those examples right here. This was like late in the game. The Raiders are trying to run a kind of a pick concept. So they're going to bring Adams in, knowing that they're probably going to be getting some sort of man coverage in here to try to pick the slot. But they do a nice job banjoing this and passing this off. And Samuel does a really nice job stepping in front of Jacoby Myers, sees it the whole way, and ends the game for the Chargers. So it's a big-time play and a big-time moment. The reason why Samuel is able to make so many plays on the ball is because he's a really gifted, short area athlete in terms of changing direction, fluidity, especially with his hips. He's a really gifted mover in that regard. So right here, we're going to be getting a blaze out from Jordan Addison. Really nice route runner. Kind of back this up so you guys can see it. So he's pedaling, and then he's going to get out of his pedal. He's going to be playing from a side saddle position. Now, as Addison breaks down and starts breaking outside, this is one of the things that I talk about a lot. When you're playing with your back to the sideline, it's almost impossible to break on these routes that are to the sideline from this type of position. But this is kind of that baseball turn or speed turn that he executes right here. And this is kind of a break glass in case of emergency thing for cornerbacks. And only the really gifted movers kind of have this in their toolbox or bag, if you will. He does a really nice job, pulling that right arm through. I think my buddy Cody Alexander calls this like the slot machine. I think it's a perfect encapsulation of, sometimes you're going to have to make those plays when you get, kind of compromised. And that's a big part of playing the cornerback position. You're going to get put in compromising positions. because you're going to get out leveraged, or receivers are going to, juke you out or get you leaning a certain way. You have to be able to get yourself out of those spots. And because Samuel plays so much from an off coverage alignment, he does see a ton of like underneath routes. And then because quarterbacks know that he's a big time playmaker and loves to jump those routes, they get him a lot on like these double moves. And this is a really nice job playing from off coverage. Right here, I really like how his eyes move back to the receiver, and he's able to show off that hip flexibility to be able to turn, burn, and then get his eyes back to the quarterback. Now, one of the things I really like about this rep as well is that Samuel doesn't look back for the ball too early. He's going to make sure that he gets back in phase just within arm's length of the wide receiver. And then from right there, it's just about being an athlete, going up, high pointing the football, and making a really awesome plays, picking off, arguably the best quarterback in the league probably at the moment. And one of the things I like, too, about Samuel is that he does a lot of little things from an off-coverage alignment that I really like that translates well to, if you're going to a scheme like the Steelers that's going to be playing a lot of man coverage. I really like Samuel here playing with an inside alignment on Garrett Wilson. Now, you'll see Wilson is trying to work him head up, and that's one of the things you don't want as a cornerback. Like, you want to maintain your leverage, whatever that is. If you're playing outside leverage, if you're playing inside leverage, don't let the receiver take that from you. So this is what I call like leverage stepping. So you'll see him like maintaining that inside leverage, even though Wilson's pushing there. Then he's going to do a nice job like closing down on that dig route. It's a really popular concept that you're seeing more and more in the NFL. This little pivot gather or bow concept, little spot route, and then a dig behind it. He's got that thing blanketed. Even if it's not tipped at the line of scrimmage, it's probably going to be another pass breakup. So talked a lot about Samuel really only playing from an off coverage alignment and a heavy zone system. We were seeing a little bit more press work last year in 2024 under Jesse Minter, Chargers defensive coordinator. That's making a lot of noise for himself. In particular, I thought he had some really nice reps against George Pickens and their matchup last year early before he got hurt. Really nice job here defending the slant. So we talk about playing like soft shoe press or a motor mirror technique. Does a really nice job keeping his shoulder square to the receiver. Pickens doesn't do anything here to get him to open up or threaten him vertically. So we're just going to be really patient at the line of scrimmage. And then as he breaks inside, we're going to make sure that we get in phase to play the ball at the catch point. It's a really nice pass breakup. That was third down. So a high leverage moment where you're going to be, press one-on-one. This is another really nice. This is like more press quarters-ish at the top of the screen with Samuel matched up against Pickens as well. Really like this rep. He's going to be starting more like outside leverage in this one because if he does run some sort of a post, we do have a safety to our inside as help. But again, you'll see that he's pushing, he's shuffling outside to maintain that outside leverage. Pickens gives him a little like stutter step release, and then from there it's just about can we compress the space up to the sideline. And he's getting his eyes back to the quarterback here to defend the back shoulder. That's one of the things that George does really well. And really, there's just nowhere to fit this football into. Like even if Fields were to try to like put this ball high or anything like that, it's going to be really difficult to get both feet in bounds because we've compressed that space and used the sideline as an extra defender. So really nice rep there. Now getting into some of the weaknesses with Samuel. He is a highly volatile cornerback just because some of the aggressive nature in his game, like he will give up big plays. He will sit on routes. He will sometimes be late to flip his hips and burn. This is a good example about like Traylon Burks. I talked about like just the competition level being something with Samuel. It just seems like sometimes he'll get kind of lulled to sleep against like lesser receivers. Right here, he's playing from a pedal. And really the rule of thumb here is like, the further down you get, into the route concept, you want to make sure that you give yourself at least like 3 to 4 yards of space. You don't want to allow that receiver to eat up that cushion because then, you're going to be in a compromising position where you got to flip, turn, and run. And Samuel's a guy who has, I would say like good speed, but he's definitely quicker than fast. Like he's not like necessarily a speedster. But one of the things I would say about Samuel that really the biggest detriment to his game is that he's not a very good tackler, and that can also show up in coverage. We'll talk about it a little bit in run support as well. So this is a really difficult route to defend when you're outside leverage and you're getting this like deep crossing route. But right here is pretty simple. Like, Samuel's definitely not in phase with the receiver. We're not within arm's length. From right here, this standpoint, we just want to make sure that we make the tackle. Right here, he ends up gambling, tries to undercut the route. We don't ever want to do that. If we're going to undercut it, we want to make sure we can get two hands on the ball and get the interception, or at least, have a contact key on the wide receiver so that if we do miss, we can still try to get him to the ground. And this is another one of those cover two reps that I was talking about earlier that we saw, getting his eyes back to the quarterback. But teams just have had a lot of success over the years just throwing the ball to the flat or running in his direction, just because he is a little bit on the smaller side, and he's just kind of an ankle biter as a tackler. Like, he a lot of times will come in out of control. He'll drop his head and just try to flail at guys' legs and stuff like that. I mean, this is a dude who has a 17% missed tackle rate. Like, anything for corners really over that, like, 12 to 13% mark is pretty rough. I mean, he had a 22% missed tackle rate before he got hurt last year. So that's just something you got to be aware of. And then as a run defender, he's pretty much a net negative. Like, he's not a guy that's going to take on blocks at the point of attack. You'll see him at the top of the screen here. We're going to get a tight end kind of motioning out to the perimeter as a lead blocker. Now, this is not a sight that you want to see as a 180-pound guy, but, there are just a lot of reps where he's just kind of like avoiding contact or not really super engaged versus the run. He's not someone that's going to be a great, like, force defender to force the ball back inside. It's just not part of his game. And then at the bottom of the screen right here, he's going to be, like, playing, like, backside contain. Again, there's just sometimes where his discipline and just attention to detail will just be lacking a little bit. And again, trying to run guys like Jahmyr Gibbs down from behind, it's a really tough sell. So that's just kind of the skinny, if you will, on Asante Samuel Jr. Really good off coverage cornerback, opportunistic, will make a ton of plays on the ball. 27 forced incompletions from 2022 to 2023. So there's a lot of good stuff in that regard. He can play man coverage. We'll see what it looks like in press. I think the big thing to figure out is just how healthy he is, what type of shape is he in. And, as far as the negatives, I think his play style is his play style. He's always going to be a guy that's highly volatile, give up some plays, but he's going to make some plays for you too. It's just the run defense stuff. You're just going to have to deal with that, because I don't think that that's going to be, changing anytime soon, especially coming back from the big time surgery. So as always, appreciate you guys. If you want more in-depth film room content like this, please consider becoming a member to the channel. Description is in the video. Peace and love.